What up, Team Nerd Herd fam, and welcome to another episode of The More You Know, where we're going to be doing Speculating 101. But before we get started, just a quick shout out to our moderators, Uncle Rudy. Thank you, and I see you in the chat, Something Wong, and also D-Anime, etc. And also a couple of new folks here in the chat. So wanted to give a quick what's up to El Huevos, and also to Fuzzy Dunlap. Thank you guys for coming on the show. Appreciate it. So let's just get started. So before anything, I just want to let you know how I got started with speculating or just kind of looking at things differently. And it had to do with at Comic Con, where I was just with a bunch of friends, and we were just kind of talking about wouldn't it be cool if Iron Man had fought Doctor Doom, if Iron Man had fought Magneto, and we were thinking like it would be such a great movie. Like Magneto would just rip off all of his armor, but then we thought, yeah, that'd be great, but Marvel doesn't own Magneto. Marvel doesn't own Doctor Doom, so we had to think of other characters that Marvel had access to in order to kind of build this universe. So we talked about a couple of other things. One of them being like, what about the Green Goblin? The Green Goblin would be a cool villain to go against Iron Man because of the whole Dark Avengers thing that was kind of happening around that time. What's going on, Bricks? How's it going, Moonlit? Thanks, Michelle, for coming by. And then we started just talking more and more about like the characters that we didn't have. What's going on, Nigel? And then so again, it was Marvel's fault for selling all of their characters away. And then we started talking about the characters that Marvel does have. And so we talked about maybe Mephisto. And yes, I know what you're thinking. But wouldn't it be cool if Mephisto fought Iron Man or Captain America at that time? Same thing with like Thanos. Oh, what's going on, Inja? Thanks for stopping by. And it kind of grew from there. So we picked, okay, Mephisto. Who would you want to see play Mephisto? And then we started talking about, you know what? William Dafoe would be an awesome Mephisto, because he has that smile, that smirk, that it's kind of scary. And then also too, the same thing with like, who would you play with Thanos? And we started talking about like, and again, it's in the early 2000s, right? So we're thinking about, you know what? Arnold Schwarzenegger would be awesome as Thanos. I mean, he's so imposing. He just exudes like power and strength that it would be great. And that's kind of like how speculating was born. And that's how, you're the way of thinking that you kind of need to have. And we do this all the time. We do this in our jobs. We play what if scenarios all the time. And we talk to our friends like this too. Like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if like, and instead of Ryan Reynolds playing Green Lantern, that maybe we got a Tom Cruise, or something like that. I mean, again, it's just kind of playing off of this and just being inquisitive and trying to figure out that next piece. So that's how speculating kind of got kind of burrowed its way into my mind. And then I started just digging more and trying to find more information because I wanted to know who the next big bad was. I wanted to know who was going to be on the big screen. And that's essentially how what speculating is. So let's just get started. And I see a couple of other people got onto the chat. What's going on? Hoodrat, thanks for stopping by. Ian, Azorus, thank you. You're on Twitch. This is awesome. Thank you, sir. JG, what's going on? Thank you for stopping by. And again, as people start to come on, I will definitely shout you guys out. So here we go. This is my little speculator guy. So one of the things that you guys should do, again, information is key to speculating. As much information as you can get, the better off you are. So going to like Variety, The Hollywood Reporter, CBSI, Screen Rant, just all of these reputable sites are where to go to get actual news, not rumors, but actual news. So they'll tell you if things got optioned, if things got like an actor got cast, a director is attached to this movie or to this show. That's where to go. I mean, it's a great place for information. And also, what's great about these things is they actually have notifications where you can set up. So if you have Chrome, you can set up these notifications to get this latest news. And I know a lot of times, like, we kind of miss out on stuff. But you should also be following people on Instagram that like Newbie, Hyper, Geek Driven, Azorus, Karate Kevin, FaceTime, and Ultra. I mean, all of these guys, provide information. They provide news. So they'll take screen grabs of these particular sites and kind of shoot them off. But if you're looking for rumors, and rumors are key sometimes, Reddit is a great place, but it's a huge rabbit hole where you can put MCU rumor and oh my God, you'll get pages and pages and pages of stuff. It is insane. But again, it's a good place if you kind of refine things to kind of help you with speculating, help you with like, characters, like cast, actors, like what role do you think they would play? Same thing with the direct. The direct is awesome. I love the direct. They're kind of on the borderline rumor mill and also like fact based. I mean, it's kind of tough, but they provide the same amount of information, same amount of resources to you. So again, definitely take a look, hit them up, bookmark these sites. And then one of the other things too, not all of us are encyclopedias, right, JR? Not all of us are encyclopedias. So going to like fandom or wiki sites, it's a great place to go. What is going on? Something wrong. It's unbelievable how much information you can find just by typing in like a character's background, what villain they who's their arch nemesis, what villains are good, and stuff like that. I mean, it's okay. I mean, I Google stuff all the time because I don't know what's going on with, let's say, Kamala Khan. And the only reason why I'm mentioning Kamala Khan today is because they just released the photo of her costume and this purple glove gauntlet thingy that she's wearing. It's so, yeah. But again, you might not know everything and anything about these characters. So going onto fandom, going onto some wiki sites like Marvel Wiki, DC Wiki would be a great place to start to kind of just get that information. Oh, what's going on, Perpetual? Thanks for stopping by from the UK. Oh, that's awesome. And now some of these key phrases. First look. So what does first look means? And we'll use Boom Studios as an example. I'm sure you guys know already. Boom Studios have a relationship with Netflix, and it's fantastic. So Netflix gets the first look at any property. Oh, who dat? Oh, it's been a long time, man. It's great to see you. And that first look just means that they can look at the script or look at the property and say yes or no, meaning that they have the exclusive rights to say no, we don't want to do this. So it gets passed on to maybe Amazon or maybe Hulu or somebody else. The next one is optioned. So what does option mean? Option means that, and again with Boom Studios and Netflix, that they're going to pay for this. That I'm going to give you money so that way I can hopefully develop this particular property. And option, just like Boom Studios, Something's Killing the Children got optioned, right? So again, that's something that they have. Now, option, it can mean a lot of things. And it just because something's optioned doesn't mean it's going to see the light of day either. So again, just make sure to realize that. And we joke around all the time about that on the show about, oh, well, this is option. This is option. Yeah, pretty much everything's optioned. Another key word to look for is development. Something that is being in development means that they're working on it. Like they are going through the script. They're doing rewrites. They are finding locations. They are doing all of this fun stuff, which means that it is more likely that this show or movie is going to be made. And then, of course, you get the who's attached to it. Which director, is there a screenwriter? Is there an actor involved? I mean, all of this stuff are keywords that you need to kind of look for when checking out rumors or actual news. Again, first look, optioned, and in development. Those are the key words that you kind of need to look for. Oh, what's going on, Jeff? Thanks for stopping by. I know it's early. It's 3:00. So I do appreciate it that you guys are on. And then here we go. So these are the studios that have things in the works. So this is, again, just something to look for. I would definitely subscribe to their social media pages, to IG, to Twitter, because you'll get all that information first before you actually get an email. So for the sake of this presentation or the sake of this show, we're going to stick with Marvel because we don't want to talk about DC. We don't want to talk about Boom, AWA, and Aftershock because Marvel actually has a timeline. We kind of already know what's going to happen. So it's easier to kind of spec on those properties based on the information that's provided. So here we go. So we all know that Black Widow came out. We all know that Yelena is being recruited by Val and that she will be appearing in Hawkeye. So we already know that. That's already kind of specced out. Eternals is coming out. Doctor Strange. And I mean, everybody's going to be in Doctor Strange, right? And then Wakanda Forever. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on. And again, we have dates. We have, all this information that we can get, again, just by Googling something. What's up, Uncanny Swag? Thanks for coming on the show. There you go. And even Who Dat. And Who Dat saying rumors of Miss Marvel being pushed back. I wonder if it could be the costume. That's kind of weird because I thought that it was going to be coming out this winter or Q4. So that's a good point. And again, all this information, everything can change. I mean, we had COVID, so we kind of know that things get pushed out. But again, Marvel does give you a good idea of what's coming next. So this is where we can kind of talk about things and speculate. So let's get started. We all know She-Hulk is coming, right? And in your mind, you should be thinking about, okay, who would be a good foil for She-Hulk? No casting, no nothing. We just know that they're doing it. They're doing a show. Who would be a good villain for She-Hulk? And again, it's these conversations or these things that should be going in your mind when you see these things pop up. Again, it's stuff that we talked about when we were, with our buddies, with our friends, and just say, oh my God, wouldn't it be great to see? Take that mentality into something like this. Oh, what's going on, Ultra? Thank you for coming on the show. Hey, if you guys don't know, Ultra is the man. Definitely sub him up. He knows what he's talking about. And right there on point, Titania. And that is 100% true. So when we first got news that Renee was going to be, was cast and going to be on the show back in April, we were thinking, okay, who would she play? And Titania was one of those characters. And of course, you can pick tons and tons and tons of other characters as well. But again, you want someone to go toe to toe. You want to have that kind of brute force, this unstoppable like mountain, just to kind of like go against. So again, that is how you should be thinking. And then we finally got, hey, Jamila is going to play Titania. And then we're like, oh my God, this is great. but we kind of already knew something like this was going to happen. Again, just by talking about it, uh, and just kind of rationalizing it, just discussing the show. I mean, again, you got to have that mindset of wouldn't it be cool if, or, if you're not familiar with the character, definitely look that character up. I mean, again, using wikis, using fandoms, you can even do searches like She-Hulk villain, and it'll give you a list of all of these characters that could potentially be that antagonist. So it's great. And then here we go. Who hasn't heard the rumor that Daisy Ridley is going to come on and, play a Marvel character? And again, this was a giant rumor. I don't know is if this is true or if it's been debunked or anything like that. But let's just kind of play around here. So based on Reddit, like the rumors are that she would be playing either Captain Britain or Rogue, which I think would be awesome. It would be killer. But I would definitely like her more as the Captain Britain type. And again, maybe it's because the actress is European, so she has that built-in accent already. But you never know. I mean, again, you just kind of put two and two together, just trying to make things kind of fit. And that's what speculating is. Again, just trying to make that fit. What's going on, Steve? Thanks for stopping by. So, Uncanny Swag, not Shadowcat. Not Shadowcat. Are you sure? But you never know, right? The sky is the limit here. And then one of the things, like, too, it's like, you know what? She actually could be playing any kind of female character. And this is where rumors just kind of just get out of control. So we need to kind of talk about this and kind of rationalize, like, really realistically, if she were to come, what would she play? And then we also got to think about, like, how much money it's going to cost for her if she needs, like, CGI effects. Is she going to be wearing prosthetics? Is she going to have some sort of power again with all the CGI stuff? It's just things to kind of think about. And with just it being a rumor, we need to have a little bit more information to actually come up with something, right? So let's talk about this casting. So this was a confirmed casting way back when of Park Seo-joon. So he's a Korean actor, and he will be appearing on The Marvels, which is awesome. Yes, the anime prosthetics. I said it. And it does cost money. But the easy ones are like, well, he's Korean, so he could be playing Amadeus Cho. He could be playing Tagochi, which is the new kind of like Korean Captain America. But out of the box, and this is another thing too, you have to think also outside of the box. And I know a lot of the speculators do it, and it's great. Then you got to do it as well. The show is Marvels, so maybe we have Marvel Boy, and I think that would be great. And I did some digging real quickly, and if you look, Marvel Boy books, and this is his first appearance. There's the Dynamic Forces edition, and also the regular edition, and prices have started to climb. I mean, if you're kind of just looking at it, I mean, $51 just for the book for the Dynamic Forces. You're also looking at just a regular variant. It's like $30, $40. Again, just something to think about. Out of the box thinking for characters like this, it's great. I mean, getting hints, because it's like, well, why are they making such a big deal about this character, this particular announcement? And he's going to be in the movie called Marvels. There you go. And Bricks also has an idea. There you go. Which, again, makes sense. Again, and it has to do with one, also the casting, why they're making such a big deal of it and making this huge announcement, because that's what they did. And then again, the movie's called Marvels. So, we already know Captain Marvel's going to be that. Spectrum's going to be it. Kamala Khan's going to be in it. Maybe we'll see Marvel Boy. Maybe we'll see Blue Marvel, right? I mean, you never know. And this is something that, again, as fans of Marvel Comics, or as like just a comic book fan, I mean, these are things that we think about. I mean, why not? And then going on. So we're gonna do a little fun thing here. So let's all speculate together. We know that Amelia Clark has been confirmed for Secret Invasion, but we don't know what she's gonna be. Is she gonna be a scroll, or is she gonna be a human? I mean, we kind of don't know, but we all have our own ideas. Oh, what's going on late night? Thanks for stopping by. So let's just kind of go. Let's see what happens here. So if she's playing a scroll, more than likely people are thinking she's going to be the queen. But we have Olivia Colman already on the show. So I think, and again, this is a personal thing, right? I mean, and that's the beauty about speculating. Everybody can have their own opinion as long as they have information to kind of back it up. And also, too, like, people don't always get the same information. I mean, we all get information from different places, and our experiences kind of shape how we perceive things. That's why people speculate differently and choose different characters, which is great. I mean, I love the diversity, and I mean, it's fantastic. So that's why sometimes a lot of speculators don't always pick the same characters, because we're always looking at things from a different perspective. And so should you. So again, we have Olivia Colman, and I think Olivia Colman, being that she's older, would be a better queen, perhaps. And again, you guys can agree or you disagree, but again, you never know, right? But again, a lot of people are thinking she is going to be the queen. Oh, look at that. Ultra hoping for Black Swan. And yep, me too, sir. Me too. But if you're thinking scroll, there's a lot of other scrolls, female scrolls, that are out there that she could play. I mean, she could be Delilah right up here, and her first appearance was Fantastic Four 347. Again, she could be playing that scroll. She could also be Elijah here, and she made her first appearance in Fantastic Four 357. Or she could be playing the princess, Annelle. Hopefully, I'm saying that right. Annelle, who made her first appearance on Fantastic Four 37. Again, it's driving the point of there's more options than people think. You just kind of look at things. Oh, Perpetual. Oh my goodness! Thank you so much for that. Wow. If Big Rob were here, he'd be giving you tons and tons of kisses. So I'm going to do my best here. Uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco. Thank you so much, Perpetual. The team Nerd Herd, we appreciate that. That is awesome. Thank you. So again, looking at just the scrolls, I mean, we shouldn't just be pigeonholed to one thing. I mean, it's great if she's going to be the queen. I mean, but and everybody's guessing that. Everybody's thinking about that. And hey, if you are, there's nothing wrong with that. But there's also other options as well. So again, always just keep your peripherals. Always keep an open mind to things, because you never know what can surprise you. You never know what you can actually kind of get, right? And if you are thinking queen, just as an FYI, there is a second print, and prices have been steadily increasing. Back in April was when they announced that she would be starring in Secret Invasion. And as you can see from the screen grab, and I got this from Go Collect, you can see that the price increased, from that announcement to what it is now, which is approximately, last sale $600. So it's pretty crazy. It is really crazy. But it looks like people are really thinking that she's going to be the Scroll Queen. But again, you never know. There hasn't been any formal announcement. And also, too, being a Scroll, why would you want to cover up that pretty face? I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Um, but here we go. She could also be a human superhero, right? That's right, Perpetual. Um, but she can also be a human superhero, and these are the two main ones that people have been thinking about. One of them is Abigail Brand, and the other one is Jessica Drew. Now, if if they follow, meaning Marvel, right, the MCU, Kevin Feige, and all of them, um, Amelia Clark will be playing double duty. And I think this is why Ultra Maximus had mentioned like Black Swan. So she would play the Queen and also play Jessica Drew, which would be awesome. But again, it'd be tough to do. And with Sony owning owning Spider-Man, I mean, I don't know if this would be the right place to introduce that character. I mean, I figured a movie would be a bigger spotlight, but again, you never know. You never know. I mean, Olivia Wilde is a director and is attached to a Spider type book or Spider type movie, so maybe having Jessica Drew kind of be introduced here, maybe in the last panel, perhaps. And then boom, Sony announces, guess what? We're gonna have a Spider-Woman movie, and it's gonna be great. Amelia Clark's gonna be on it, and it's gonna be directed by Olivia Wilde. Right? I mean, you never know. You never know. And I like that. Thanks a lot, Ultra. And again, Abigail Brand could also be that other superhero. And the reason why we're thinking Abigail Brand, it's it's because they're going to be in space. You want to have some sort of like security team, and Abigail Brand could be that bridge between humankind and mutant kind and kind of everything else that's kind of out there. So having her as that character would be amazing. But again, I, we don't know, right? Because mutants aren't a thing, so they would have to make adjustments to her power set. So, maybe she's an agent Abigail Brand, versus the X-Men or mutant Abigail Brand. I mean, you never know. And then Brick's great point with Sword. I mean, they've already mentioned Sword in WandaVision. So with Sword comes Abigail Brand. So that's another thing. Great point. Thank you so much for bringing that up. Zorus. If Jon Snow's a Black Knight, then Daenerys Targaryen is going to be the Scroll Queen. You know what? It could happen. It could happen. It could totally happen. And I would love it. Oh, and Julia Carpenter, actually, that is my favorite Spider Woman. So I like that pick, Uncanny. But yeah, again, the possibilities are endless. But again, you got to think of like where this character is going to reside. And again, if you're thinking Secret Invasion, Squirrel Queen, Jessica Drew, and again, Abigail Brand. But what if this character that Amelia Clark is going to play isn't a superhero? What if? Oh, well, sorry about that. Forgive me. But I kind of just put here prices, and again, these are based on Go Collect, and you can see how the prices have increased for these characters because people are betting that Amelia Clark is going to play, one of these. I mean, you could have had the first appearance of Spider Woman and a CGC 9.8 for $2,500, and now you're looking at 4,000. I mean, it's pretty nuts. But again, this could also have to do with the announcement that Spider Woman is going to make an appearance in Edge of the Spider-Verse 2. But again, you kind of just need to get a kind of feel of these things. But again, casting for Amelia did happen around April. Same thing with this particular book, Astonishing X-Men number 6, where Abigail Brand makes her first appearance. Thanks, Fuzzy. I appreciate that. And again, her first announcement was in April, and then you see these prices start to steadily climb. And again, it has to do also with Sword, as Bricks had mentioned. There's all these other factors that kind of can get in there, but again, when you have casting, people start to pick and choose like what the character should play. And again, it's a great game. I mean, we should all have fun with this because speculating is actually a lot of fun. Now investing in it, that's going to be different, but we'll talk about that in maybe speculating 201. But again, this is just a basic class of just kind of getting everybody to kind of be at least on the same page. And then here we go. So again, what if Amelia Clark wasn't a superhero? Well, she could be an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., right? I mean, we are talking about space. We are talking about Nick Fury. So she could be an agent. So I just picked a couple just as because all the good ones are taken, right? So Quake's taken. Ming-Na Wen's character is taken. Maria Hill. I love Maria Hill. And Colby Smulders kills it. She's taken. So here are a couple. One of them is Chastity McBride, and don't laugh, that's her name. And she makes her first appearance on Elektra Assassins #5. It's a great book. Frank Miller just knocks it out of the park. And then you have another one, Kimberly Taylor. And Kimberly Taylor is another agent, and she helps the Punisher. Punisher, right? Isn't the Punisher going to be making an appearance hopefully soon? Is he one of the characters that would make the transition? I don't know. But again, that's what speculating is all about. It's just kind of trying to tie these things together. Oh, thanks, Jeff. I did forget about Mockingbird, but Mockingbird, I'm not taking characters that have already made an appearance. Like she made an appearance in S.H.I.E.L.D. I forgot who was playing her. Jamie, was it Jamie? Some other character was playing her, or some other actress was playing her, so I didn't want to put that in there. But again, we found out that S.H.I.E.L.D. isn't part of the MCU proper. It is a variant or an incursion. So you're right, Jeff. I mean, Mockingbird could still be on the table, and Amelia Clark could be playing her, which I think would be awesome. Thank you, Uncanny Swag. It's Adrian Pileski, right? Or something like that. Adrian Pileski, I think. And again, Jeff, thank you again for bringing that up. So again, just thinking outside the box. I mean, don't limit yourself to just, oh, she's going to be the Skrull Queen. She's going to be Spider-Woman. I mean, there's all these other things too. And again, it's just talking about actors and actresses, talking about characters that we love so much. So that's essentially, again, what speculating is. So here we go. Now let's talk about future prospects. Now that we've kind of played a little game with Amelia Clark and trying to figure out what she could potentially be or what role she could be potentially being. Yes, something Wong, Mephisto. But why would you cover up that beautiful face? Come on. So future prospects, these are pretty simple, right? I mean, you have Young Avengers and you have Champions. So with Young Avengers, we already have a good feel of it. We already know a lot of these characters have already made their way into the MCU proper. And the same thing with Champions. So why not have both teams? And again, if you're looking to spec and looking to kind of just figure things out, I mean, you just would look at the characters and say, okay, what is the roster for Young Avengers? Have they introduced these people? Who are they missing? And then also, too, who would be the big bad for these guys? Same thing with Champions. Champions, you see all these characters. You know Kamala Khan. You know Riri. I mean, Joaquin Torres was just introduced in Falcon Winter Soldier. I mean, there's just so much stuff there. But then you look at the roster and you're like, huh, there's a lot of other characters that haven't been brought into the universe. And they could potentially make it. So again, just keep your eyes open. I know we're all fans of Marvel, of their stories, of everything. And yes, Godly Comics, thank you for popping by. And yes, Miles Morales is in Champions. And we all know that He is Spider-Man for a lot of people, right? Not Peter Parker. So that's another thing going for Champions. But again, Champions hasn't been introduced, or Miles Morales hasn't been introduced to the MCU proper, but he is animated and could be one of those variants, right? So again, you never know what they plan to do with this, with the future, and kind of bring them all together. I think it's going to be great, and Comics Talks Weekly, thank you very much. And here we go. Champions is first Viv Vision outside of Vision, and that is 100% true. And and just to kind of, and I've been talking about Viv Vision, but we know Vision left in WandaVision, and he doesn't have a soul. So his driving factor could be, and again, could be that he wants to start a family so he can get those emotions and have those feelings. Um, and again, you never know. Like, he could create his own family, and Viv Vision could be one of those characters. Also, too, I like this Perpetual Future Foundation. That's another one where there is potential, but we would need also potentially the inclusion of the Fantastic Four to kind of make that happen. And I know Fantastic Four is coming down the line, so that is good future spec. And again, thinking outside the box. This is what you guys got to do. This is what we do. Is you think outside and try to figure things out. Again, and Perpetual's doing that by saying, "Hey, Future Foundation," because we know we're getting Fantastic Four, right? And then also too, make sure to follow Kevin Feige. He says a lot of things, and by him saying a lot of these things, um, they're more than likely to happen. I mean, he did mention mutants, and he did say that there is going to be a South Asian superhero on Disney Plus. Now, again, the key word is South Asian, okay? And we're not talking about American born. We're not, this was definitely after Shang-Chi was mentioned. So, I mean, you need to start thinking about like these other characters. So when he said that, we saw a spike in books that had first appearances, like Agents of Atlas. We also saw Taskmaster #3 for Taguchi. I mean, it's what you need to do. And here we go. So I'm gonna highlight Godly because he makes some good comments. First Miles movie had multiple Spider-Man. That is true. And yeah, definitely they're gonna throw some more characters in it. Um, and then again, whoops, here we go. He would be his best bet looking at patterns and how Loki threw a bunch, and that is 100% true. Uh, you get these shows, and you guys just have to kind of put two and two together and just start thinking about it. Because you never know what they're going to do. But again, having that train of thought and always just thinking about things will help you be a good speculator. And you know what? You don't have to be right all the time. I mean, speculators out there, they're not right 100% of the time. They're not perfect. They don't work in Hollywood. They don't work at Marvel. So, I mean, seriously, if nobody's perfect, I mean, you can speculate all you want. Everybody has their own ideas. And if you're right, you're right. That's great. And if you're wrong, hey, you know what? You're wrong. Let's just move on to the next thing. And the same thing with when you're right. I mean, you don't dwell on, hey, I told you so. I mean, it's one of those things where you just kind of move on and just say, hey, I mentioned it. Or, hey, I got it wrong, and just move on. I mean, it's one of those things, again, where anybody and everybody can be right. We all have access to the same information. Some of us, dig deeper than others, and that's why they're so good at what they're doing. But again, nobody's going to get it 100%. I mean, there isn't. But again, doing this kind of stuff, this digging is a lot of fun. So looks like here we go. Jeff had mentioned Southeast, like Filipino, and yes, that's exactly what I was thinking. Filipino as well. And you would get Wave here and she's right here in the Agents of Atlas. And again, that's why we saw a spike in that particular book. But again, it could be anything. I mean, there's Korean. The sky's the limit here. But again, just talk things out. Just use your mind. Maybe write these things down and say, hey, this is what I think. And again, investing in these things, don't try to put all your eggs in one basket because again, you never know. Marvel likes to troll us, right? Mephisto, anybody? And the same thing with like, you don't want to spend all this money on a book that you're just going to flip later. And we did talk about flipping in my previous segment. So again, just be conscious of what you can do, what you can afford, and also too like what you think. I mean, no matter what, even if you're stuck with this book, I mean, you have to like it, right? Because if your spec isn't right, then what are you going to do with it? I mean, you probably can't sell it for however much you bought it for. So I mean, it's one of those things where again, just do your own research, and spend what you can afford. I mean, I know this is a hobby, we love it, but again, just kind of dip your toes in everything. So here we go. And then the next one is villains. So we already had a bunch of villains, right? Oh, and Sparks is on. Jeremy, thank you for stopping by. Look at that. Thank you. In the parking garage for an hour. Well, I appreciate you tuning in, sir. Villains is going to be next. Who's going to be the big bad? We had Thanos. We're getting Kang, but then who else are we going to get? And yes, I did include Mephisto because, again, you never know. I mean, just like people are thinking, oh, we're going to have the Rise of the Midnight Suns. But guess what? There's a rumor right now, if you go to comicbook.com, that Ghost Rider might be introduced. So again, you never know. Just make sure that, you visit sites like the ones that I've specified and kind of talk about it. Yes, I love Doom, Fuzzy Dunlop. I am all about Doom. But we're not going to see him for a while, unfortunately. At least that's what I think. But again, I could definitely be wrong, and I'm okay with that. Jeff, I do like Annihilus. I think he would be fantastic. I can see him being introduced in Doctor Strange. I mean, it's great. But then also, too, Marvel's kind of doing something different. If you've noticed, Marvel's trying to be a little bit more inclusive. So you would get maybe a little bit more women as villains, which I think would be great because it adds to the diversity. I mean, why not have a woman villain? Same thing with villains of people of color, and this goes for heroes as well as villains. But I think right now, having a good villain would be fantastic. And just FYI, Lady Bullseye, who's right up there, her books have been spiking. So it could mean that people are thinking she could be a villain in a movie, on down the line. Same thing with Sin. People did speculate since Captain America and the Winter Soldier are going to have a movie that perhaps Sin would be the main antagonist. So again, these are the things that we kind of put together as fans of the show. And again, it could be Madame Mask. You never know. But just having that discussion, having that talk. Ooh, I like that, Jeff. Typhoid Mary, Elektra. Yes, for sure. I would love them to be introduced. And the possibilities of having them come in would be fantastic. And then moving on to things that we kind of already know. Here we have the Dark Avengers, and we know that Val is kind of assembling them. We had USA Agent over in Winter Soldier. We have Yelena from Black Widow. We have Abomination from the Hulk. We have Agnes from WandaVision, and we have Taskmaster, who could potentially be like Hawkeye, since we don't have Bullseye proper. So, I mean, you never know. The makings are there. And I did put Russell Crowe there for Zeus because now that Zeus is kind of involved, now you kind of have the Greek pantheon of gods. So you could have Ares. You could have Hercules. You never know. You never know. But it's one of those things where, again, just by seeing what's kind of happening, what Marvel's trying to develop, this would be like the perfect way to go. But guess what? There's also another group of villains that could also be potentially be in the Marvel universe, and that would be Thunderbolts. And Thunderbolts, we've seen these characters too, right? We've seen Zemo, we've seen Batroc, we've seen General Ross, we've seen Ghost, and the list goes on and on. And you also have a Bullseye. Could that be a female Bullseye? Who knows? You have Crossbones. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on about these characters. But if you kind of noticed, they are putting little seeds into all of these movies. They drop all these little Easter eggs, all these little things, and Marvel likes to kind of dip back into that same pond. So you never know. And it's a good point too. Jeff had made if Venom crosses over, and Venom could potentially cross over with Spider-Man, and also with Doctor Strange. That could also mean that we have access to Venom. So Venom could be in Dark Avengers, which would be awesome. And who knows, maybe he could also be in Thunderbolts. But there's so many options out there, so many other things to kind of think about that, again, this is exactly what we talk about when we're with our friends. So any and everybody can be a speculator. Anybody and anybody can say, "Oh, you know what? I think this person can make an appearance based on this information." And that's what this show is about. This show is just to make sure that you guys think about these things, that you know about these things, that you have this information so that you can make your own judgments, that you don't have to follow the crowd unless you believe in them, or unless you say, you know what, I agree with what you're putting out. I think based on your track record, or based on the data that you've done, the digging, your reputation, stuff like that. I mean, that's again what you want to do. But again, thinking for yourself is the best way to go, because you don't want to just be a lemming. You don't want to say, well, he said so, so I'm just going to do it. I mean, just think for yourself. Information's out there. It's real super easy. And again, we've all seen the movies. We've all seen the Easter eggs. We've all talked to our friends about it and say, oh my God, this is great. That's all part of being a speculator. All right. And again, this is where personally I get all my information. Screen Rant, Variety, Hollywood Reporter, CBSI, The Direct, IMDb, Fandom. And again, I use Fandom because sometimes I don't know who these characters are, so I want some background. So I go to their Marvel database, I go to their DC database. The list goes on and on and on. Comicbook.com, comicbookresources.com, Reddit, everywhere and anywhere there's rumors. I mean, you can type in on the Google and type in MCU rumor, and you'll get a ton of links, a ton of information. But again, be selective. That's all I'm saying, is be selective, be smart. You should have a solid foundation. And I'm hoping I'm kind of giving that to you to kind of, again, look at things from a different perspective. Always be inquisitive, be curious, and you will be fine. You can speculate all you want. You can, have discussions with some of these speculators, and talk to them and say, you know what, this is what I think, and sound like you know what you're talking about, because you've done the research. You've kind of put two and two together, and that's great. Everybody should always have an open mind to things. Everybody should be listening to each other, because again, experiences that we have are always different. Information that we're getting, even though they're kind of the same, but might be coming from someplace different. I know I'm being a little preachy, and I'm sorry about that, but yes, everybody and anybody can be a speculator. Now, this is what we got coming up. So guys, tonight at 7 p.m., 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have our favorite half, the bottom half, where we are going to discuss comic books that are 11 through 12 from cover price. So again, it's a great show. We have a lot of fun with this. So again, tune in 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 10 p.m. Eastern, and thank you very much, Perpetual. And we have the legend, Mike the Beast Benson, coming on the show on Thursday for our mail call. And you know what's special about our mail call? We have that versus. So it should be fun. Mike is a great guy of the community. He's very supportive, and he's very supportive of everybody. So it's great to have him on the show. I did a show with him. We actually did a review of New Mutants, and it was great to have him. He's full of energy. I like it. And I'm so happy that he's going to make it on our show tomorrow or on Thursday. And guess what? Dropping the Mic is back. That's right. We have Steve, the man, the myth, the legend. Hip Hops and Me is going to be discussing his rap battle that happened last week over at DJ Lynx's channel, and it's going to be epic. He threw so many comic book references in it. It's going to be fantastic. And you guys get to listen and get to kind of peer in the mind of Steve. So it is going to be great. I love it. It's going to be a lot of fun. And again, who doesn't like Steve? And then again on Sunday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we have our new comic book picks of the week. Couple things for this. Sparks. So Jeremy's going to be joining us again, which is awesome. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate it. And Jeff Geek Driven is going to also be on our show as well. And we may have another surprise for you guys, but I'm not going to say. I don't want to spoil it, but something different might happen in that show. So that is all I have for announcements. Again, thank you guys for bearing with me. I do appreciate it. Definitely leave a comment. If you have any questions, hit me up on IG. I'll definitely reply back. And yeah, happy specking, everybody. And again, if you want to do it right, collect what you like.